Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This is the Church360 members spring cleaning edition webinar, and I am really, really excited to show you everything the software has to offer. So let's go ahead and jump in. So first things first, we have a phenomenal team of software consultants. They are happy to take any of the questions that you have either at the number here or email. I actually am personally in charge of this email. So anything that I can't answer myself, I'm tagging my team in. So we're probably going to have a little bit of time for question and answer at the end of this webinar today. But in case you're rewatching this later, first time watching it later, you can always send an email to ctscommunity@cph.org, and we are more than happy to kind of just walk things through you. We like being trusted advisors rather than pushy salespeople. Our entire approach is that you guys are making the right selection for your church, and even if that's not us, so we're happy to talk. We like to provide that kind of just high level of service because we love helping churches. So there we go. All right, so getting into today, what is in store for you? So we're going to be talking about Church360 members. That is a church management software, and it's specifically built for church administrators, busy pastors, and volunteers. We do this, kind of like how I was saying, is because we believe in supporting ministries with technology. With all of our products, that is the core of what we do. We like giving you your time back and helping you grow your impact on whether it's administrative or ministry focused actions. So everything we do is built to help you in that cause. So, few little due diligence pieces. So hopefully you're familiar with Concordia Technology Solutions. That is the brand around our different products. Church360 is kind of the suite of products. Members is the product we're talking about today. And it's really neat because a lot of church workers work on our team, whether or not they're in more administrative parts of the business or they're developers. We have a lot of pastors and very involved lay people. One of my best friends on our marketing team is the head elder. So we have a lot of just great people who love the church and bring like in-person real experience into all that we do here at CTS. So my name is Rob Davidson. I'm one of the managers here at CTS. I do a lot of the marketing and working with our software consultants to make sure that we're always providing the most value possible to current and would-be customers. So, and then most importantly, kind of like I was saying before, we're doing this all for your church. Your church is a key person when considering, what could a software do for you? And you're like it says here, it's like your needs are our priority. And if we don't meet your needs, we don't want you to work with us. So we're only looking to work with churches that are, take full value, can really experience an impact from what our software can do with our church. And so that's what we're going to explore today to see if there's a fit between our software and your church. So, like I've said, today we're going to be talking about Church360 members. Software as a solution is built to solve a problem. That problem is that, as I'm sure most of you know, the church has a variety of administrative needs. There's a lot of responsibilities and tasks that the church office has to accomplish and consistently maintain in order so that the ministry of the church can continue and grow and impact its congregation and community. The issue, though, is that a lot of solutions aren't one size fits all. And sometimes they can create even more work than they're worth. And so, we like to really, when we're delivering technology, it's all about you getting your time back, right? So can you do something with our software that when doing it manually or with another product, you're doing it faster and potentially with a better result? That's something that churches need, because whether you're understaffed or you just have more work to do than you have hours in the day, having a software that serves your needs is so important. So what is Church360 members? Church360 members does a lot. We have a huge communication part of the product where when urgent news arrives, you can let the right people know. It helps you connect with new visitors and invite them to events or make them aware of important things going on in your church. It helps you coordinate different church records and contact information of the people in and interacting with your church. And it's also incredibly important for reporting and attendance and offerings and all those pieces that are directly connected with your people data. You have to count it, and then you have to report on it, and you should be able to show trends on what's changing and what's the health of your church and how it's growing and impacting the community. So members helps you with all of that. So kind of as I'm getting at, the software does a lot. And I'm not going to be able to show you everything today, but I am going to be able to kind of get into some of the key pieces of the software that when our team is showing it off in a demo or you're working with it in a trial, people go like, oh, wow, this is something else. So I want to give you a glimpse of that today with a little bit of an emphasis on, hey, spring cleaning, keeping your data up to date is important. And so I'll show you some ways that we can do that in our software in case you are a current customer and you're watching this and you want to learn a bit about, hey, what does like maintaining my software look like? So cool. So finally, how does your church benefit? I've kind of said this. I tend to talk in circles sometimes. It's about helping grow your impact and get more done, right? It's all about your ministry. And, the administrative side of your business is built to serve the ministry side of your business. We wouldn't be pushing paper for no reason, right? That's not the point of an administrative office. The point of the administrative office is to make sure that you can actually have an impact on your congregation. And so that's what we're here to help you do. All right, so it is time for our demonstration. So I'm going to pop out of this. And cool. Okay, so let's jump here. And you'll see here we are now in Church360 members. So if you have not seen this software before, I'm going to give you a little brief overview of some of the navigation. So this is the people view. This is one of the key areas within the software. So in this view, you can keep track of all of your people, right? Whether or not they're a member or a visitor in your church. So then we have a couple areas here where you can kind of then sort this information in different ways. So we could sort it by household, the Abbott, the Adams households, a family picture here. We could sort it by givers, right? Giving and offerings and tracking those contributions. It's a big part of your church. So you can track those that give, and then you can look at couples, marriages. So again, there's a lot of different ways that your church might need to sort your people data. This is just a start to how you might want to find what you're looking for. So if we jump over quickly to events, right, we can see here, this is one view. Let's jump to the month view. It should give you a better view here. So you can see all this activity going on in the church. So we have some things that are like, just people's birthday. But if I turn some different calendars on, so let's go ahead and let's find worship here. Oh, so now we can see, I'm getting ahead of myself, all the different services and activities that are associated with the worship calendar. It's everything going on in your church that you can use the built-in calendar for. Now, if you're using the calendar, then you can take attendance. So now the attendance module, this helps you associate attendance with a specific event. So if I was going to go up here to enter attendance, it'll pull this up here, and then I can either just add a count. So down here at the bottom, I could just type in a number, or manually select those that are in the church. So this is the men's Bible study. This is the event that this happened to pull the attendance record for. And so, Dave's there, David's there, James is there. I think you see the value of this. I could also jump over to Saturday worship and select families. And as you can see, this number of all attended is going right up. And I can also add, hey, maybe there's some people I don't know that are visitors. I can add an extra 10 people there for the total of 24. All right. And then we have offerings, and this is really similar to the attendance view, but a different thing we're counting here. I can create a batch. So let's go to a Sunday, and I'm going to pick the Sunday morning service. I can make a batch of the offerings and add $31, hit enter. I can change, this was loose offerings, I can change it to be a specific giver. They're giving a check. The check number was 1001, and they're giving it to the investment fund, and they're giving $1,000. So again, just many ways you can use the software. So, and then finally, we have this big reporting suite that allows you to populate different data. So again, I can see different activities and givings and attendance trends within the church. And then we have this big communication suite. So that allows you to send, right here, emails and texts. You can send emails and texts completely free with your subscription to the software. Other softwares, they charge you incrementally for usage. We don't do that with email and text. There's a little bit of an extra pay-as-you-go with voice, but that's completely optional. We're actually one of the only church management softwares that has a programmable voice option. You jump in here, and then you build out your message, you build out your audience, and then you can record your message and send that out to your congregation. And, it's a credit-based system. But again, I'm kind of just giving you a cursory feel, and now I'm going to dive some deep into some areas. We have kind of a message bell here, and then we have a big kind of cog settings area here. I've talked a little bit about calendars. So you can see here there's a lot of events associated with this calendar in this month. Birthdays, and then worship is another big one. You can change the color and change who it's visible to. You can see envelope numbers. Not all churches use envelopes, but for those that do, they have the ability to track and manage them here. You have funds, right? So you saw earlier that in an offering batch, I changed what fund I believe Mr. Abbott was giving to. So this could show you, hey, am I going to the general fund, or am I contributing to the church at large, or a renovation or a different project? And then we have pastoral visits. So I'll show you a different way to track pastoral visits later when we're playing around in the people view with different individuals and what their record and timeline is. I'll show you that in a moment. But if you wanted to keep track of that or add a visit here in more of a streamlined way, we have a dedicated view for that. So I could show Dave Abbott here, visit by Kent Williams, I believe is our pastor for this account, and type, we're just doing a counseling call, and we're adding that visit to today. So here you go, populated. And then we have other ways that you can sort data. So the two ways to do that, to kind of add some rich kind of metadata to your people, is with smart groups. So smart groups are a way to automatically put people into different categories, but based on data that you add and enter into the software. So you have, an example of that is April birthdays here. So those whose birthdays in the month of April are living and are current members, right? That makes sense. Those are the people that I would want if I want to pull a dedicated report or view of people that have April birthdays. I could have that set up immediately. And I can always do that manually, right? But this creates a quick way for me to go about doing that. Then this one gets into a little bit more of that administrative side of the business, right? Here, who's attended worship in the last 6 months? I am sure that you've probably been asked by a elder or a committee member or your pastor at your church to, come up with a report like this if you guys are active in taking attendance. So as you take attendance, right, you then can create reports based on looking at it different ways. So this one pulls that automatically. So I'll show you here in a moment, but then we can show you how that gets pulled up. So I can do that right here. Look at that. So this is that smart group attended worship in the last 6 months. So these are all the people that we've recorded as having attended a worship service, right, in the worship calendar in the last 6 months. Super cool. The next way to do kind of sort people is doing it manually with tags. So, we have things like Altar Guild. How are you going to sort people for Altar Guild based on their activity in the church or their birthday, right? That doesn't make sense. But doing it intentionally, that does. So we can build that people. So right now we only have one person in an Altar Guild, but we have 23 people here tagged as part of the choir. You can even use this in different ways. I believe I have a open to volunteering tag, but maybe someone deleted that. But that could be one. So let's go ahead and create that right now because I'm not seeing it. So we'll create the tag open to volunteering. Oh my gosh, I think I spelled that right. And we're going to change the color and add the tag. There we go. So now we can go ahead and we have no people, so it's going to yell at me a little bit. But I can then go into our people view, and I'm just going to select some random people for the sake of this. Here we go. And then we can add or remove tags, and I can add open to volunteering. And now all of those people have had that tag added to them. So if I go to tags, open to volunteering, it'll now be right here. We have the 4 people I just added. So again, this is really easy, really speedy, and really valuable for taking control of all of the data you have at your fingertips in the church office. We also can sort grades. So we have an automatic kind of setting here that you can always change what the promotion date is, that you can automatically promote grades on August 18th. So you can always change that manually, but you can add people to preschool 1, 2, kindergarten, first grade, what have you, and it can automatically move people to the next one as time goes on. Or some also things that are cool. So anything above this line, I think custom fields is the only other one that I haven't really looked at yet. Yeah. So there's a lot of different custom fields that you can create either for the household or the individual. So if I add person field here, we have an open to volunteering tag there that one person has in there, but I can make this a person link. We have elder contact, but we're going to have, we already have prayer partner. Let's do accountability partner, right? So maybe if you're struggling with something and you want someone to hold accountability and your church is kind of doing a program for it, visible to administrative only, we're going to associate 2 people together for this, and we're going to save. So now we go to the people view. We'll go to Dave here. You can see, look at that. That was a counseling visit by the Pastor Kent Williams, April 23rd that I mentioned before. And then I can go down to choose an accountability partner. And, this is Dave Abbott. So let's do, Tim. There you go. Paired. So I hope that gives you kind of an initial feel. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit with what does spring cleaning look like. So you have all of this data that, for the last 5 to 10 minutes here, I've been kind of showing you, this is a lot, right? And so I would imagine that there's a big need to keep this data up to date. So let's go ahead and look at this here. So let's jump into Dave. Dave's often our example here. So we see here that I am moving my monitor, and that doesn't mean anything for you guys. We have his address here. We have his phone numbers, email address, right? His family and tags, right? So what would be spring cleaning, right? If I was going to kind of manage and update this information, Well, let's say I'm not going to get rid of great singing voice, but what if he's no longer, he doesn't have the bandwidth, he got a new job, and he no longer has the bandwidth to be part of the maintenance crew. So I want to go ahead and remove that tag, right? So now we're not sorting him within that group. That then, hey, now this data is slightly more up to date than it was before. I can do the same thing by adding or removing. See, these numbers here can remove any of the phone numbers connected to his account. So let's go ahead and remove that one. All right, they cut the cord. They're no longer having a home phone, so that shouldn't be in your data anymore. So if you got a new email, we can go ahead and add a new work email because you never know when you need to contact someone at work. So we can go ahead and put that here and make it unlisted if you want it to be more private. Just for those of you that aren't super familiar with the individual views here, you can kind of see that you have some really basic data here: birthday, baptism, confirmation. Confirmation isn't. I know there's a lot of denominations that don't do confirmations, so that's not mandatory to put in. Their deceased date, if you're looking at a past member, grade, etc. So, and then you can see here, these are some neat ones: last attended an activity within the church, last visited the church. So those are going to be different kind of criteria of there's a difference between attending a service versus visiting something, or vice versa. And then last commune. So you can track communion sessions, whether you're Lutheran or Protestant, etc. Like if you're keeping track of that data, you can then show that there. And then you can always pull up their offerings or pledges. So if we want to do a little bit of spring cleaning with the family, we can add and change the household numbers. If they had a family email address, we could add that here. And then, what if they had another child? So we can go ahead and add a person. But I think what we have to do, we have to jump out here. So we're going to add a new person, and the name is Abbott, and they're part of that family. And we're going to call them Johnny, male, and they're going to be a member. So we're going to add and edit. And so now we can see, new baby Johnny is part of it. So let's last visited. So this is the whole family. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. So now we can add a birthday here. Let's do April. He was born yesterday. Do you think I was born yesterday? Well, yes. Yes, I do. All right, so you can see, hey, that's a little spring cleaning, adding or subtracting data from everything that you have going on here. So, this has been a really cursory view. So before I wrap up, the one thing I want to show you is the communications view here. So this is one of my favorite views in all of members. Right, I was talking earlier about how we do email and text and voice, and it's a little bit unique than other platforms. How will we use this to aid in kind of managing the software and making sure people's data is up to date? So let's say that your church once a year does a church data spring cleaning request, right? And so this is going to be an internal title because this is a text message, but we'll go ahead and add this to members. And so we'll automatically populate it right down here. But I want to exclude Kent because he's the pastor. So I already know his data is up to date. Let's say, type a message here. Hello, we are doing our annual spring cleaning. Yeah, I don't know how to spell. Of our church records, please contact the church office if you have updated any of your contact information, such as Oh, and I'm too long. So contact information. There we go. That's all we got room for. Again, text messages need to be short. I apparently type paragraphs. So go ahead and then we would then send this out to everyone on the list. So we don't have a lot of people where we have real phone numbers in the system. So it's graded out for me. It's not letting me send it, but that's okay. I think you guys get the idea of what this software can do. So that is one area. And so for these, you can also see we have an event log here for any of the communications that you send out. So this would be a phone blast that was sent to people. And so you can kind of see that, again, we don't have a lot of real phone numbers in here, but some we do. So we have a no answer, an error occurred because they're not real phone numbers. And then there's some real deliveries in here as well. So I think we can see that a lot better with email because our data is a little bit better. Display log. So yeah, you can see these are delivered, invalid email address, opened. So it shows you everything going on with any of the communications that you send out. Magda McKay sent us a message here. Is there a way to send household data to each member individually to ask them to review? So there's two ways to do that. So I think what you could do is you could send the family a message, right? So I could text, or let's do an email because that data is going to be better. Email, let's include George Abbott. I think Sue Abbott's the wife. And I could send them an email, right, asking them to reach out. If you also have our online directory and website software, Unite, that you can actually have people do that anytime because they would have a unique login with the website software. It's super safe. It's their own specific login so that you can give that access to different members of your congregation so they can go in, see a private online directory and update that themselves. So you can either do it like this, or you can kind of do it more, on their own time kind of way, if you're looking specifically as a way to send them a message. All right. Well, and please, anyone who has a question, feel free to submit one. I believe that's everything I wanted to show off today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump kind of back and forth here, finish up this presentation. So that was Church360 members. I hope that gives you a taste of everything that the software has to offer. I know it's a lot. We love doing one-on-one demonstrations here. So if that's something that would be valuable to you, I would love to get you connected to one of our software consultants to get that process started. We are giving away free church software assessments. So if you have, a different product or you don't have a system in place for managing church records, or you need help with an accounting software, or you're looking into, hey, how's my church website look? Should I be looking at something else? Could it do more for me? We have these kind of assessment, very consultative driven conversations, and we do it for absolutely free. So this is open to anyone that would see value in it, and you can reach out to the contact information here to request one. So with that, that was pretty speedy today. So I think I'm going to spend 15 minutes here, or however long we have, just answering any questions that you have. The last webinar we did was really Q&A driven, and I think a lot of people got a lot of benefit from that. So I'd love to stick around and answer any questions that you have. And when everyone's gone, I will close for the day. So thank you so much for joining us, and let me know how I can help. Happy to answer any questions. We would like to create a custom tag. Okay, I'd be happy to show you that. So let me jump out of the presentation here, jump into people. All right, so how you do this is you go up to tag. So I'm assuming, unless you're looking for a custom field, that was kind of what I showed earlier. So you could always do that and just by text and put any information in there. Or you can go to tags if that's what you're asking for and create a tag like this. So I showed you with open to volunteering, and we could do it a different way, as in church committee. So there we go, and then add tag, create that, and then I could go and add that to certain people. Yes, Lacey is on the church committee. You can add that to them by hitting add or remove tags, church council, church committee, there. Hope that answers your question. Beth, pro and cons in comparison to Shepherd Staff. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Shepherd Staff is our PC-based software. So we started building that in like the 80s and then kind of launched that officially 1994. So that is fully PC based. So that sits on your local computer. So you can't access that typically from your laptop at home or from your phone. It's very much kind of where you install it is where you get to use it for the most part. Whereas Church360 is entirely web-based. So your pastor could update a pastoral record while he's visiting shut-ins. An administrator could work from home, right? Whether because it's due to weather or if it's just because it's more convenient and they could fit in that time around their work hours at their employer. So, those kinds of things are unique to having a web-based environment. I find that Church360 members especially is so much easier to use because it's a newer, more modern interface. So when I get into Shepherd Staff, it takes me a little bit longer to get something done because I'm not used to software programs like this. Again, I'm 28, I'm almost 29, so I haven't been using the kind of technology that Shepherd Staff is. And so if you're training new volunteers that are millennials like me, or younger, right, as time moves on, it's important to kind of use a software that is easy for them to get their head around. And I've really found that members is really, really easy to use and get used to. Lacey, what is the best way to look at what my attendance was for a specific past service? Easter 2 years ago. Okay, that's a great question. So let's go ahead and pull up these events. So I think it's going to be based on where we see record here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these, and I'm just going to look at worship records. And then what would be a good example here? So let's go look at this date. So we're going to pull up then all of the attendees for this service in March. So then I can go down and see all of that activity or add more people if I wanted to. So if I click enter attendance, it would put me within that environment. And I think that auto moved to the last one I was in. Yeah. So, but you can see if I jump back to this view, right, I can see all of the activity in this day in July, for instance, or this one in March. So then that jumps around and populates that data. So then you can always build kind of a report or compare that to a different day. So this is looking at a lot of data. If I can look at attendance of everyone in worship in 2023, that's one of these lines. Yeah, so that'll pull that up within still that day range. So anyway, What is the best way to generate a list of active people, members, non-members, visitors, prospects? Great question. Okay, so we're going to go to people and we're going to open up the hamburger view here. So we're going to use people that have been living, and then we're going to have add who are members. And you can always switch that to non-members if you would like, or we should have, no, so non-members, right, and attended worship in the last 6 months. So this is showing 36 people who aren't members but have attended worship in the last 6 months. But let's say I want to make that a little bit closer, right? Change that, and that's showing a different rate now. It's showing 29 people. So that way you can kind of pull this list, and then what you could do is you could then connect all of them and then send them a text, an email, or a voice message automatically there. So then that would then pull them into it, and I could reach out to them. So if I kind of set this up differently that hadn't visited in this time period, I could do a reach out. So let's go ahead and I'll show that here. So who have not attended worship. Okay, so now we got a different rate of people. I'll go ahead and select them, send an email. All right, we have all these people that it automatically compiled there. Now I can write them a message inviting them to worship. What other questions can I answer? I'm here for the next 22 minutes, so throw them at me. What other questions can I answer for you? Anyone else? Lydia here. We have members who never attended. What is the best way to keep their records? We do not want to send them mailings any longer. Okay, that is a great idea. So let's go ahead and create a smart group. So we're going to create this smart group. Lydia, I think this could be perfect for you. Add group down here. Mailing list group. And we're going to add a trait. Okay, who are living? Who are members, right? And who attended, no, we're going to say worship in the last 2 years. We're going to save that. Okay, so now I went ahead, and you can see this mailing list group, right? So you can build that criteria to however you want. That would be ideal for you. And then it would create this list automatically of people in this group, and this would change dynamically as people stop attending. So if you did this closer to like 6 months, you'd see a greater rate of change potentially. And you could then select all of them for voice message, text, or email. Hope that made sense. Is there a way to designate connect individuals who live together, same household, but aren't married with them without calling them spouses? Yes. So what I would do is kind of what I just did for Johnny. So if I pull up Johnny, because I'm I need to go to everyone. Johnny hasn't been to service yet because he was born yesterday. So if you see here, he is in the household, but he's not a family member, right? So if we go to the household, you can see Johnny Abbott is part of the household, right? But he lives at this address. But if you go to family, right, it does not show that. So there you go. There's an easy example of how that works. Lacey, I hope that answers your question. Anita, each month I use the sandwich view to find the birthdays for the following month. Is there an easier way to find birthdays for each month? Yes. Okay. So this is where smart groups are so phenomenal. So I'm going to assume, Anita, that everyone in your database has an up-to-date, like you have their birthday record in it, right? Because this way won't solve that without it. So earlier I was pointing to, we have March birthdays, April birthdays. Let me try to pick a September birthdays are people who are living and are members who, if I can spell right, whose birthday is during September. Okay, and we'll save that. Oh, and I created a duplicate, so that's fine. That's fine. September birthday is right here. So I have 13 people here. So what you could do is, instead of using the sandwich method, which does take a little bit of time, if you had a smart group for each month, you just get to that month and you show this up, and this will automatically create, everyone who's got a September birthday. And boom, you're done. Just like that. Hope that was helpful, Anita. Hope that saved you a little bit of time. Perfect. Great. Again, like, out of all the things we do here, I really love members. I've seen it really work for a lot of churches. So if there's anything else I can kind of show you, whether it's kind of like Anita here, and it's like, hey, I have a unique problem. This is operations. I need to know how to do this. Have to show that. Or if it's like, hey, I'd love to see this. If the software does this, be happy to show you. Happy to answer. Oh, look at this. Craig. We currently use 360 members and Ledger. What would happen if we no longer wanted 360? How would we retain all the info? You could export your data through here into this Excel document. So again, your work is not in vain. So if you use this for a few years and then you want to move to a different software, or your contributions from your congregation is shrinking your church and you can't afford it anymore, like, we totally understand. We make it easy to get your data out. Yes, I believe same with Ledger. What other questions can I answer? right, if we hit another couple minutes here and I don't hear from anybody else, I'll go ahead and end. I do like, Craig says, I do like both programs and the support staff are great. Well, that's great to hear, Craig. I was like, oh no, this is not a great question to get. But I totally understand you want to have your plan B covered, and that totally makes sense. But it's great to hear that you love the platforms, and again, let us know if there's anything that we could be doing better. We're about to launch a really, really big new upgrade for Ledger, and then we're going to be looking at what else can we do with the software. What more can we do to support churches? And I think members is one of the big ones we really want to add some more stuff to. So if you have any questions, you're like, I don't think the software does this, I'd still love to hear from you. Can you print a household page that contains all the household information of all households at once? Or am I stuck at? Right now, I think, Lacey, you are stuck at one at a time, but that is something we've looked into creating a kind of a speedy way to do that. So stay tuned. That's definitely on our radar. Hey, Lacey, is no problem. Again, we love helping churches. I love tech and software, and again, I always like this the webinar time to be as helpful as possible. I can always just show the software and just kind of plop through some things, but I really like it when it's really connected to y'all's needs. Then I feel like I'm actually helping somebody. So I'm great to hear that, Lacey. We have 12 more people here on the webinar. So if there's any question I can answer, anything to show, I'm as long as questions are still rolling in, I am here for you. Save the message. I have to cancel it to get out of that. Interesting. All right. Well, everyone else. Oh, new question. What happens to the data when you archive someone? That is a great question. So, you're really pushing me to. So there you go. So I can see her. So I don't archive people often, but you can search here for archived, and all their data is saved right here. So it takes it out of the normal, when you're searching for something, view, but you can always get to them within archived. There you go, Karen. I can go in here, and I can see everything with Dave Erickson. All right, I'm here for at most 9 more minutes. If there's anything else I can show you, I would make my day. We had a lot of people here today. We were at almost 30, 26, 27, 28, 30, something like that. It's great. If there's any other questions I can answer, I am here. If I don't hear from anybody in a bit, I might end early. That is okay. I think a lot of people here are probably kind of just having me in the background, which I do have a face for radio. So if you're just listening, I understand. Wait another minute, and if I don't get a question, I will call it. And I hope all of you have a blessed week. Can't believe it's only Tuesday. It feels like Thursday, at least for me. All right. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. I'm Rob Davidson. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Otherwise, take care. Thank you so much for attending.